All of this channel's more nerdy and gaming-related content will be migrating to a new sister channel, where you can find all the relevant content, icebergs, lore videos, and more. So all my past and future content in that niche can be found there and will be deleted from this channel. All the strangeness, conspiracies, and other fringe topics will still continue to be covered here as is. I've also just started a brand new channel where I finally share my own thoughts on the internet, people, and life in general. So if you'd like to follow my gaming or my personal channel, links can be found in the video and channel description. Smart dust refers to microscopic sensors capable of wirelessly monitoring and reporting on their environment, raising intriguing possibilities and concerns. Some theorists believe smart dust has already been covertly deployed by governments or corporations for mass surveillance. The idea of invisible airborne sensors taps into fears of omnipresent monitoring and loss of privacy in the digital age. Proponents of these theories point to unexplained respiratory illnesses as potential evidence of smart dust inhalation. Some speculate that chemtrails, often dismissed as ordinary contrails, could be a means of distributing smart dust over populated areas. The concept of smart dust aligns with concerns about the Internet of Things and the increasing interconnectedness of everyday objects. Theorists suggest smart dust could be used for mind control, manipulating thoughts or behavior through undetectable neurointerfaces. Others propose smart dust as a tool for weather manipulation, allowing covert climate engineering on a massive scale. Some believe smart dust could be used to track individuals' movements and interactions without their knowledge or consent. Theories exist about smart dust being used to create digital twins of people, mapping their habits and predicting their actions. The potential for smart dust to interact with the human body on a cellular level fuels speculation about secret medical experiments. Conspiracy theorists sometimes link smart dust to the implementation of a social credit system for population control. The difficulty in detecting or proving the existence of smart dust adds to its mystique in conspiracy circles. Some view smart dust as a stepping stone towards transhumanism, blurring the line between human and machine. Proponents of these theories often cite advancements in nanotechnology as evidence that smart dust is more than science fiction. Smithsonian suppression refers to the theory that the Smithsonian Institution actively conceals or destroys archaeological evidence that contradicts mainstream historical narratives. Proponents argue that artifacts suggesting ancient advanced civilizations or giant humanoid races have been hidden from public view. Some claim that 19th and early 20th century newspaper reports of giant skeletal remains being sent to the Smithsonian, which subsequently vanished, support this theory. Theorists point to the vast size of the Smithsonian's archives, suggesting that only a fraction of their collection is ever displayed publicly. The institution's close ties to the US government are cited as a potential motive for controlling information that could reshape historical understanding. Supporters of the theory argue that maintaining conventional historical timelines is crucial for upholding current power structures and belief systems. Some researchers claim to have encountered unusual resistance or bureaucratic obstacles when attempting to access certain Smithsonian records or collections. The alleged suppression is sometimes linked to protecting the interests of religious institutions by hiding evidence that might contradict biblical timelines. Theorists suggest that advanced ancient technologies, if revealed, could disrupt current economic systems built around energy and manufacturing. Skeptics who become believers often cite their own experiences of seeing artifacts in the field that don't align with official reports or displays. Solar disk theory proposes that the sun is not a gaseous sphere as commonly believed, but rather a flat, disk-like object. Proponents argue that the sun's appearance from Earth is more consistent with a flat, circular shape than a spherical one. They claim that the uniform brightness across the sun's visible surface suggests a flat structure rather than a curved one, which would show limb darkening. Some adherents point to ancient depictions of the sun as a disk in various cultures, as evidence that our ancestors understood its true nature. The theory often incorporates the idea that the sun is much closer to Earth than mainstream science claims, potentially only a few thousand miles away. Supporters argue that solar flares and prominences are more logically explained by electrical phenomena on a flat surface than by magnetic processes on a sphere. Some theorists suggest that the sun's disk is a portal or gateway to other dimensions, explaining phenomena like coronal mass ejections. Proponents claim that NASA and other space agencies manipulate images of the sun to maintain the spherical model, citing alleged inconsistencies in solar observatory data. The solar disk concept is sometimes linked to broader alternative cosmologies, such as the flat Earth theory or the electric universe model. Advocates argue that accepting the solar disk theory could lead to breakthroughs in energy production, as it challenges conventional understanding of solar physics. Solipsism is the philosophical idea that only one's own mind is sure to exist. This theory posits that the external world and other minds might not be real, but rather creations of one's own consciousness. Proponents argue that since all experiences are filtered through an individual's mind, there's no way to prove anything exists outside of it. Some solipsists believe that they are the only conscious being in existence, with everything else being a projection or simulation of their mind. The theory draws support from the fact that our perception of reality can be altered by drugs, mental illness, or sensory deprivation. Advocates point to phenomena like dreams and hallucinations as evidence that the mind can create convincing realities indistinguishable from waking life. Solipsism aligns with certain interpretations of quantum mechanics, which suggest that observation plays a role in determining reality. Some proponents argue that solipsism explains the hard problem of consciousness, and why we can't directly experience others' subjective experiences. The theory has been linked to simulation hypotheses, suggesting that the perceived world could be a complex mental construct, or computer simulation. Solipsists often cite the philosophical problem of other minds, which questions how one can be certain that other beings have consciousness. Soul healing refers to the practice of addressing and resolving spiritual or energetic imbalances to promote overall well-being and personal growth. Practitioners believe that emotional traumas, negative experiences, and spiritual disconnection can create wounds or blockages in the soul. This theory posits that physical and mental health issues often stem from unresolved soul-level disturbances. Proponents claim that soul healing can access past lives, ancestral traumas, and karmic patterns to resolve deep-seated issues. Some practitioners report sensing or seeing energy fields around individuals, which they interpret as manifestations of soul conditions. The concept of soul retrieval, where fragmented parts of the soul are believed to be reclaimed, is a key component of many soul healing practices. Advocates often cite cases of spontaneous remission or unexplained healings as evidence of the soul's influence on physical health. Quantum entanglement theory is sometimes invoked to explain how soul healing can work across distances or even through time. Some soul healers claim to channel universal energy or communicate with spiritual entities to facilitate the healing process. Proponents argue that the effectiveness of placebos in medical treatments supports the idea that belief and spiritual factors play a significant role in healing. Source code for the human brain refers to the theoretical underlying programming or instructions that govern the functioning of human consciousness and cognition. Proponents of this concept believe that the brain operates on principles similar to a computer, with a complex set of algorithms and data structures. Some researchers argue that unlocking this source code could lead to advancements in artificial intelligence, effectively allowing us to replicate human-like consciousness in machines. The theory draws parallels between neural networks in the brain and the architecture of advanced computer systems, suggesting a fundamental similarity in their operational principles. Advocates point to the field of neuro-linguistic programming as evidence that the brain can be reprogrammed, implying the existence of an underlying code. Some theorists propose that this source code might be quantum in nature, explaining phenomena like intuition and the seemingly instantaneous processing of vast amounts of information. Proponents suggest that certain altered states of consciousness, such as those induced by meditation or psychedelics, might allow glimpses into this underlying code. The concept is sometimes linked to ideas of a cosmic or universal consciousness. with individual human brains seen as instances of a larger, overarching program. Some researchers in the field of optogenetics claim that their ability to control neural activity with light supports the idea of a programmable brain. Advocates argue that understanding this source code could potentially lead to cures for mental illnesses, enhanced cognitive abilities, and even the possibility of consciousness transfer. Soy Grand Theory posits that soybean plants are developing sentience and may eventually evolve into a dominant, intelligent life form on Earth. Proponents argue that the rapid spread and adaptability of soy crops across diverse environments demonstrate an unusually high level of plant intelligence. Some theorists point to the complex chemical communications between soy plants as evidence of an emerging collective consciousness. The theory suggests that the widespread integration of soy into human diets is actually a form of symbiosis, allowing soy to influence human behavior and decision-making. Advocates cite studies showing that soy plants can respond to sound and touch as indicators of advanced sensory capabilities beyond typical plant behavior. Some believers claim that the isoflavones in soy, which can mimic estrogen in the human body, are actually a mechanism for soy to manipulate human hormones and cognition. The theory often incorporates the idea that genetically modified soy varieties are accelerating the plant's evolution towards sentience. Proponents argue that the soybean's ability to fix nitrogen in soil is evidence of an advanced symbiotic relationship with soil microorganisms, suggesting a form of social intelligence. Some theorists believe that large soybean fields are actually functioning as neural networks, with each plant acting as a node in a vast, interconnected intelligence. Advocates of the theory sometimes point to ancient traditions that attribute spiritual or mystical properties to soy as evidence of its unique status among plants. Space is Fake Theory proposes that the concept of outer space as we know it is an elaborate hoax perpetrated by governments and space agencies. Theorists argue that the Earth is enclosed within a dome or firmament, beyond which nothing exists. They claim that satellite imagery, space missions, and astronomical observations are fabricated using advanced special effects and computer-generated imagery. Some adherents point to inconsistencies in space footage, such as alleged anomalies in shadows or lighting, as evidence of studio production. The theory often incorporates the idea that stars and planets are simply lights or projections on the firmament, not distant celestial bodies. Supporters argue that the Van Allen radiation belts make space travel impossible, suggesting that no human has ever left Earth's atmosphere. Some proponents believe that the space hoax is maintained to justify massive government spending, and to keep the public ignorant of the true nature of our world. The theory sometimes includes the notion that NASA and other space agencies are actually occult organizations hiding esoteric knowledge about the universe. Advocates often cite the lack of stars visible in many space photographs as evidence that these images are taken on a soundstage. Some believers in this theory claim that rockets don't actually go to space, but instead fall into the ocean, with missions being simulated thereafter. Space monarchies refer to the theory that extraterrestrial civilizations are governed by royal hierarchies similar to historical Earth monarchies. Theorists argue that advanced alien societies would naturally evolve into monarchical systems due to their efficiency in decision-making and long-term planning. Some believers claim to have received telepathic communications from space royalty, describing complex interstellar political structures. The theory often incorporates the idea of cosmic bloodlines, suggesting that certain humans have alien royal ancestry. Advocates point to ancient myths and legends of gods and divine rulers as evidence of past interactions with space monarchs. Some proponents believe that Earth is part of a larger galactic kingdom, with human governments secretly answering to extraterrestrial royalty. The concept of space monarchies is sometimes linked to the idea of benevolent alien overseers guiding human development. Believers often interpret crop circles as royal seals, or messages from these cosmic nobles to their earthly subjects. Some theorists suggest that unexplained astronomical phenomena, like fast radio bursts, are actually communications between different space kingdoms. They also argue that the long lifespans often attributed to aliens in UFO literature align with the need for stable, multi-generational rule in vast interstellar empires. The Sphinx water erosion hypothesis proposes that the Great Sphinx of Giza is much older than traditionally believed, possibly dating back to 10,000 BCE or earlier. This theory is based on the observation of weathering patterns on the Sphinx's body and enclosure, which appear to be caused by prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall. Proponents argue that such extensive water erosion could only have occurred during a period of much wetter climate in Egypt, which ended around 3000 BCE. Geological evidence suggests that the last time Egypt experienced such significant rainfall was between 10,000 and 5000 BCE, long before the accepted construction date of the Sphinx. Supporters of this hypothesis point to the vertical erosion patterns on the Sphinx's body, which are more consistent with water erosion than wind or sand erosion. Some researchers have noted that the erosion patterns on the Sphinx are distinctly different from those on nearby structures built during the 4th dynasty, further suggesting an earlier origin. The implications of this theory, if proven correct, would dramatically alter our understanding of ancient Egyptian civilization and potentially human history as a whole. Spirit science is a holistic approach to understanding the universe that combines elements of spirituality, ancient wisdom, and alternative scientific theories. Proponents believe that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of reality, influencing physical matter and energy at a quantum level. The theory incorporates ideas from sacred geometry, suggesting that certain mathematical patterns are key to understanding the structure of the universe. Advocates claim that human thoughts and emotions can directly affect reality, citing experiments on water crystals and random number generators as evidence. Spirit science often includes the concept of chakras and energy healing, proposing that the human body has multiple energy centers that can be manipulated for health and spiritual growth. Proponents argue that ancient civilizations possessed advanced spiritual and scientific knowledge, which has been largely forgotten or suppressed in modern times. The theory often incorporates ideas about DNA activation, suggesting that humans can unlock latent genetic potential through spiritual practices. Some adherents believe in the existence of multidimensional realities, accessible through altered states of consciousness or specific vibrational frequencies. Spirit science frequently discusses the concept of ascension, proposing that humanity is evolving towards a higher state of consciousness and existence. Advocates often point to synchronicities and personal experiences as evidence of the interconnectedness of all things and the validity of spirit science principles. Spiritual microeconomy refers to the belief that spiritual practices and energy exchanges have a direct impact on personal and global economic systems. Theorists argue that individual thoughts, intentions, and actions create energetic currencies that influence financial abundance and scarcity. The theory suggests that karma operates as a spiritual form of credit and debt, affecting one's material wealth across lifetimes. Advocates claim that practices like meditation, prayer, and energy healing can attract financial opportunities and improve economic conditions. Some believers point to the concept of money karma, where one's relationship with wealth in past lives affects their current financial situation. Proponents often cite personal anecdotes of financial windfalls following spiritual practices as evidence for the theory's validity. The idea incorporates elements of the law of attraction, suggesting that positive spiritual vibrations can manifest as material wealth. Some adherents believe in the existence of spiritual contracts that govern economic exchanges between individuals on a soul level. The theory sometimes includes the notion of abundance blocks, energetic obstacles that can be cleared through spiritual means to improve financial flow. Advocates often argue that aligning one's career or business with their spiritual purpose leads to greater economic success and fulfillment. Stairs in the woods refer to mysterious staircases allegedly found in remote forested areas, often reported by hikers and park rangers. These staircases are said to appear suddenly, with no apparent connection to any structure or building. Witnesses describe the stairs as being in pristine condition despite their remote locations, sometimes looking as if they were recently built or maintained. Some reports claim that animals and insects avoid these staircases, creating an unnatural clearing around them. Theorists of the phenomenon often cite multiple independent sightings from different geographical locations as evidence of their existence. There are accounts of people feeling an inexplicable urge to climb these stairs, while others report a strong sense of dread or danger when approaching them. Some theories link these staircases to interdimensional portals or gateways to other realms. Park rangers have allegedly been instructed not to discuss or approach these stairs, fueling speculation about official knowledge or cover-ups. Folklore surrounding the stairs often includes stories of people disappearing after climbing them or experiencing time distortions. Some researchers argue that these staircases could be remnants of long-abandoned structures, with the surrounding buildings having decayed while the stairs remained. Staring anxiety related to digital screens refers to a growing concern that prolonged exposure to electronic displays is causing a new form of social anxiety. Advocates argue that constant interaction with screens is rewiring our brains, making direct eye contact and face-to-face communication increasingly uncomfortable. Some researchers point to the rise in reported social anxiety disorders, coinciding with the widespread adoption of smartphones and social media. The theory suggests that the ability to edit and curate our digital personas has made real-time, unfiltered interactions feel more intimidating and unpredictable. Advocates claim that the constant dopamine hits from screen interactions create a preference for digital communication over in-person exchanges. Some studies have shown decreased activity in brain regions associated with empathy and social cognition after extended periods of screen use. Theorists argue that the phenomenon is particularly pronounced in younger generations who have grown up with ubiquitous digital technology. The theory often incorporates concerns about the impact of blue light from screens on circadian rhythms and overall mental health. Some researchers suggest that the rapid task switching encouraged by digital interfaces may be reducing our capacity for sustained attention in face-to-face conversations. Advocates of this theory point to the increasing popularity of text-based therapy and social anxiety support groups online as evidence of a growing discomfort with direct interpersonal interaction. States of reality refers to the theory that our universe exists in multiple distinct forms or phases, each with its own set of physical laws and properties. Proponents argue that these different states can coexist simultaneously, with our perceived reality being just one of many possible configurations. The concept draws inspiration from quantum mechanics, particularly the idea of superposition, where particles can exist in multiple states until observed. Some theorists suggest that consciousness plays a crucial role in determining which state of reality we experience at any given moment. Advocates point to unexplained phenomena, such as paranormal experiences or déjà vu, as potential evidence of bleed-through between different states of reality. The theory proposes that major historical events or personal decisions could create branching timelines, each representing a different state of reality. Some researchers argue that altered states of consciousness, achieved through meditation or psychedelics, allow glimpses into these alternate states. Proponents often cite the Mandela effect, where large groups of people share false memories, as possible evidence of shifts between different states of reality. The concept sometimes incorporates the idea of a base reality, from which all other states diverge or emerge. The Stonehead of Guatemala refers to a colossal stone sculpture discovered in the jungle of Guatemala in the 1930s. The head, measuring approximately 30 feet in height, features distinct non-Mayan characteristics, including Caucasian facial features and a pointed beard. Some researchers argue that the sculpture's style and craftsmanship are inconsistent with known pre-Columbian art in the region. Proponents of alternative theories suggest the head could be evidence of ancient transoceanic contact between Mesoamerica and other civilizations. The sculpture's location in a remote area, far from known ancient cities, adds to its mysterious nature. Some theorists point to similarities between the Stonehead and ancient Olmec colossal heads, proposing a potential link between the two cultures. The weathering patterns on the sculpture have led some to argue for a much greater antiquity than conventional dating methods suggest. Advocates claim that the head's unusual features could represent an unknown race or species that once inhabited the Americas. Some researchers have proposed that the sculpture might be part of a larger, buried structure, or complex yet to be excavated. The limited documentation and lack of thorough archaeological study of the site have contributed to ongoing speculation about the Stonehenge's origin and significance. Stoneflight Interface refers to a hypothetical method of controlling aircraft or spacecraft using crystalline structures and mental energy. Proponents argue that certain types of crystals can amplify and direct human thought waves to manipulate the flight path of vehicles. The theory suggests that ancient civilizations may have used this technology to build and transport megalithic structures. Some researchers claim that experiments with piezoelectric crystals have shown promise in converting thought patterns into measurable electrical signals. Advocates point to legends of levitation and flight in various cultures as potential evidence of past stoneflight technology. The concept often incorporates ideas from quantum entanglement, proposing that crystals can create a mental link between the pilot and the vehicle. Some theorists believe that crop circles are actually landing patterns created by craft using stoneflight technology. Proponents argue that stoneflight interfaces could explain reported UFO maneuvers that seem to defy conventional physics. The theory sometimes includes the idea that certain naturally occurring rock formations act as amplifiers for stoneflight capabilities. Some researchers suggest that studying stoneflight principles could lead to breakthroughs in clean energy propulsion and anti-gravity technology. Stonehenge refers to the ancient circular monument in Wiltshire, England, composed of massive standing stones arranged in a distinctive pattern. Some researchers propose that Stonehenge functioned as a sophisticated astronomical calendar, aligning with solstices and equinoxes. Proponents argue that the site's construction required advanced mathematical and engineering knowledge beyond what is traditionally attributed to Neolithic cultures. The transportation and erection of the massive sarsen stones, weighing up to 40 tons each, has led to theories about lost ancient technologies or extraterrestrial intervention. Some theorists suggest that Stonehenge was a center for healing, citing the discovery of human remains with signs of illness or injury at the site. The alignment of Stonehenge with other prehistoric monuments in the area has led to speculation about ley lines and earth energy grids. Acoustic studies have shown that the stones have unusual sound properties, leading to theories about their use in rituals or communication. Some researchers propose that Stonehenge was built as a monument to unify the diverse Neolithic tribes of Britain, serving as a symbol of collective identity. The discovery of similar circular monuments across Europe has led to theories about a widespread megalithic culture with shared knowledge and purpose. Some theorists propose that Stonehenge was constructed by extraterrestrial visitors, citing the precision of its astronomical alignments as evidence of advanced alien knowledge. Proponents of the alien theory point to local legends of sky gods as potential references to ancient astronauts involved in Stonehenge's creation. The idea of giant builders stems from old British folklore, which attributes the construction of Stonehenge to a race of giants led by Merlin the Wizard. Advocates of the giant theory argue that only beings of immense size and strength could have transported and erected the massive stones without modern technology. Some researchers claim that oversized human skeletal remains found in the British Isles support the notion of a race of giants capable of building Stonehenge. The Streetlight Biosphere theory proposes that artificial lighting in urban environments has created a unique ecosystem for nocturnal organisms. This concept suggests that streetlights and other forms of urban illumination have fundamentally altered the behavior and evolution of various species, particularly insects and small animals. Proponents of this theory point to the concentration of insects around streetlights as evidence of a new ecological niche. Some researchers argue that certain moth species have adapted to urban environments by developing darker wing coloration, which may provide better camouflage against artificially lit surfaces. The theory also encompasses the idea that predators, such as bats and birds, have modified their hunting patterns to take advantage of the abundance of prey attracted to streetlights. Supporters of the streetlight biosphere concept claim that these artificial light sources have created localized islands of nocturnal activity, potentially leading to genetic isolation and accelerated evolution among affected species. Some ecologists suggest that the Streetlight Biosphere may serve as a buffer against the negative impacts of light pollution on wildlife, providing a refuge for species that might otherwise struggle in fully darkened environments.